Okay. All right, so here's a quick overview of the gear I have in my rucksack. First of all, just the pack itself. Random brand. I don't know where Dad got this. But we'll open it. The side has this little tiny single pouch on the side where I keep the stuff that I need access to right away when I get to the stand, which is nice. So we can go over that stuff first. I'll just grab that out and then I'll go over it one by one here. I don't keep too much stuff in this because it's kind of hard to keep track of all the tiny tiny things if they're just kind of rattling around. All right, so first up, obviously I have a little first aid kit. This is not just the ones you buy from the store. Obviously the case is, but I added a bunch of stuff to it and took out a bunch of stuff that was stupid and useless. So the container's nice because it has a rubber gasket, so it's waterproof. But aside from that, it's pretty much my own design. And then I have a piece of electric tape that keeps the handle from opening. You can also burn that as tinder and stuff like that, a little fire extender, which is nice. So, what's this called? First aid kit. Then obviously, the most important thing ever, considering all of the stories I've heard from the guys I hunt with, toilet paper is the single most important thing you can bring out aside from a gun. I've never had to use it, thankfully, but I don't want to be the guy who gets stuck in his tree stand and has to use his sock. Yes, okay. Then we have trail marking tape. This stuff is super cheap, but I use yards and yards and yards of it every year. So this is super handy. This was probably 3 times the size when I got it a couple years ago. So I do use this. It's not just a gimmicky little thing I keep in my pack. It's good for marking trails that you're going on, or if you're going just to kind of do some scouting, it's good for that too. All right, I have my little New Testament that I keep in my pack for some light reading. Then I have a little tiny flashlight. This thing is super weak, and that's fine because this is my early morning flashlight for when I'm out getting ready on the stand and I don't want to turn on my really bright 800 1000 lumen headlamp. This is a nice little low power, it's probably like 200-300 lumens LED flashlight. This is something I keep in the outside of my pack, so if I'm looking through my pack trying to find stuff, or I for some reason lost my headlamp and I don't have it, it's a little backup in there. And I keep spare batteries for this in the main pack as well. Then I have a little bag. It's not a fire kit, but it does have some fire equipment in it. I have a lighter with duct tape, or I guess Gorilla Tape wrapped around it. Gorilla Tape you can use as a fire extender if you are trying to get a fire going. You can actually strike sparks onto duct tape from a flint and steel. Did you hear that, Meg? I just called a ferro rod a flint and steel. Yeah. Survivor's rubbing off on me. Off a ferro rod onto duct tape, and it usually catches unless it's just horribly wet outside. But that also just gives a better grip for the lighter anyway. That's the first little item in there. Then I have a little match safe with a rubber gasket, and in here I have regular matches. Well, not regular matches. They're strike anywhere matches. Strike anywhere matches theoretically. I don't think they're actually strike anywhere. I mean, matches rarely are actually strike anywhere matches. And then I also have 5 little storm matches just in case. But, if you're stuck out where we're going to be hunting and it's, raining so hard and you're going hypothermic, you might as well just hike out and not try to just sit there, because that'll warm you up faster than you can, get a fire starting. Oh, and on the bottom of this, it has a little tiny ferro rod, which is kind of cool. And then I have some chapstick. I use chapstick all the time. Oh my goodness, my girls got into this. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to switch that one out this year. Little chapstick. This also is a fire extender. If you rub this on a piece of, dry grass or rope or something like that, and then light it on fire. It will extend that flame. You can get 3, 4, 5 minutes out of a little tiny piece of grass, whereas if you struck it with a lighter without this, it would go up in flames in a matter of like 1 second. So this is good for, I get really dry knuckles, I get really dry fingers right up here by the nails, but also chapstick is chapstick. Cool. So that's that little case. All of this stuff I keep in the front pocket of the pouch. It's just kind of a little basic kit of what I keep in the main pack. Just quick access stuff. And during hunting, I will actually move some of the stuff from the main pack into the small pack, just for ease of access while I'm on the deer stand. But for now, I just keep that in the main pocket. Okay. So that's all this little stuff. I'm going to slide this out of the way, and then we'll get to the main pouch here. So I'll slide that down there. Okay. Cool. So getting into the main pouch here. All right. Cool. So I have plastic bags. These are just the 1 gallon freezer bags because they're durable. I use these not for trash, as you would think. I just throw my trash right back into my rucksack. What I use these for is organs. So if I'm keeping the liver, the kidneys, the heart, the tenderloins will go in here if I am able to salvage those. Just stuff that you are taking out from the inside of the body cavity after you've got a deer, hopefully, that you don't want to just throw in your pocket or in your bag. These are good for those. I've kept hearts before. Loins, like I said, loins go in here. Haven't been able to save the liver yet. That usually gets obliterated, but yeah. So a couple gallon freezer bags are just good to have. And if, worst case scenario, you can use them as a garbage bag. So that. All right, then here is a pair of binoculars. These are my spotting binoculars. Super cheap. I think I got these, for $60 from Fleet Farm. And they have a magnifying power of 16 by 32, which is actually pretty decent. And for the distances that we're going to be using, distances we're going to be hunting at where we're going, you don't need a spotting glass that can go up to that you can see the fleas on something's back from 1,000 yards away or something like that. So these are perfectly good for where we are hunting and what I use them for. Just kind of scanning the horizon and seeing if I actually saw a porcupine or if I was just going insane. So yeah, those are my binoculars. And then this pouch right here is my ammo pouch. Instead of carrying a big box that rattles and stuff like that, I have this little ammo pouch that I keep rounds in. So if I'm using my 30-30, those fit in here. If I'm using my 308, those fit in here fine. If I'm using my 30-06, obviously those fit in here fine. And then I can keep the brass that I shoot. I just slip them down in here, and I have 6 extra shots, extra rounds just in case. Yeah, sometimes I'll take a couple heavier grains, but that's just me being paranoid. So I usually hunt with 165 grain 30-06, but I have boxes of 180 just in case. Just, you never know. You never know if you're going to see an elephant or something like that and want to hunt it. So that's a cool little case that I have. Obviously, it's not essential. All right, moving on down. I have just a wad of paper towels. These are good for obvious reasons. Yeah, you can't go wrong with paper towels. Worst case scenario, you can use them as additional toilet paper or tinder if you want to start a fire. All right, I have a Victorinox multi-tool. This is one of the things I use to fix my 30-30. Super important. If you had to just carry one extra piece of gear aside from your gun, this would be it. I keep the knife on this just as sharp, if not sharper, than my my actual bush knife. So if I did have to skin a deer or gut the deer or whatever, I could do it with this multi-tool. In fact, this year, if I do get a deer, I might even try that just to say I've done it. Gutted a deer out with a multi-tool, but we'll see. All All right, so speaking of my bush knife, here it is, just a Mora, but it's high carbon steel and it has a very, very rigid spine on the back, so I can throw sparks off of a ferro rod, and if I had a piece of stone that's harder than high carbon steel, I could throw sparks off of the blade itself, which, you know, it's just nice to have. The back of this is super, super dinged up. I've got, you know, edges, pieces taken out of the blade up here that I had to sharpen back out. It's got a rubber grip, so when I am gutting and I do have my hand up in the chest cavity to cut the esophagus and the carotid arteries and veins out of the deer's throat, it's gonna get super slippery with blood and it's not gonna actually slip out. So that's nice. Then on top of that, I like to bring these. These are a comfort item. It's a pair of meat shears or meat scissors or kitchen scissors or whatever. These are so nice. All of the deer I've gotten, I have gutted with these. Not everything obviously works with this. You do need a knife to go with it as well, though I guess technically you could do it with just the shears. This is really nice for opening up the chest cavity and opening up the actual abdominal cavity. Just like cutting a yard of fabric, it just unzips the belly and it's perfect. You don't need these. It's just I've done it with the knife before. I think the first deer I ever did was with just a knife, and I found a pair of these and I was like, you know what, let me try it, and it was the best thing ever, so I keep these in my pack just for that. That's part of my kill kit, which I'll go over in a second. All right, I have a little emergency rain poncho. I don't like being cold and wet. I would rather just be cold, so I just keep this in there. Never had to use it. It's never rained hard enough where I'd have to put on something like this. Usually my outer layer is perfectly fine, so. All right. Then I have a couple 100 feet of orange paracord. You know, a million reasons you would carry this, but this is just another instance of me being paranoid. I doubt I would ever have to build a shelter or string a deer up where I'm at to gut it or whatever, but these are useful. I have used these before to tie the legs open, to tie the forelegs up on a tree so that when I gut it, all the stuff just, you know, flows out downhill. I have used this before. This is a newer hank of rope, so I haven't actually broken into this particular one, but I have some other pieces of rope in my actual kill kit that I have used and do use every year that I actually get something, so that's handy. Here is my hatchet. It's a Gerber. It's got about probably a 2-pound head, if that. This is what I use to hammer stakes in, to help me set up my tree stand. I use this to help field dress the deer. This is really, really excellent for putting at the base of the sternum and just hacking up through the ribs to open up the chest cavity, so you don't have to stick your hand up in there, which is gross and sticky and dangerous. This is also good for hacking the pelvis in half to get the guts out without, you know, getting feces all over your meat. So, you know, that's cool. Million uses for this, and it's super lightweight, so I don't even notice that it's in my pack, especially when it's packed, you know, right at the base of my back. I can't even tell it's there, which is nice. All right, so there's a couple bags of stuff, which I think is, yep, all there is. And basically these are, they kind of fit into one of 3 categories. They have the comfort items and some trail marking stuff. I'll go through this one first, I guess. So in here I have these pins. I don't know if that shows up on the, yeah, no, it doesn't show up on the camera. That's fine. These are very, very highly reflective, let's see if I can get this to work. Highly reflective pins. There you go. Highly, highly reflective pins. These are great for marking where you are going, okay? So if you're doing a trail, just like you would use the marking tape, if I know for sure that I'm gonna be hunting down a specific trail or no trail at all, which is where these really do come in handy, I will just leave a trail of pins going out on trees and a trail of pins going back to the road on obviously the same trees if I can handle it. That way when I'm walking in the early morning when it's not light out yet, I just use my flashlight or my headlamp, and these will light up like a lamp. So they're really easy to see in the morning and in the evening when you're trying to hike out and you're really tired and you maybe miss the trail that you were. That's happened to me a couple times. These are really nice to have, and they're fairly cheap. I think you can get them at Fleet Farm, but I don't really know where I got my hands on these. I think it was Fleet Farm, but I'm not 100% sure. Then I have a compass right here. I normally carry a compass that hooks onto the zipper of my outer layer, so it's always on the outside, and I don't have to like rifle through my pack to get out a compass and take a bearing to see which direction I'm going. This is more of a backup. This is a backup compass, just in case, for whatever reason, I'm walking through the bush in somewhere I've never been, and that compass on my zipper tears off or something like that. I do have one in my pack. So that's nice to have. Then I have a little empty bag. This is just for miscellaneous things, dirty toilet paper, candy wrappers, whatever. It's a little trash bag. I try to make this a reusable trash bag, so I don't put disgusting stuff in here if I can avoid it, but that's what it's for, so I don't really care. Then I have just a whole wad of, that one's used, whole wad of hand warmers. Obviously, these are just comfort items, not necessary. Then I have the little roll of duct tape. This is super nice, patching stuff up. I actually used this to fix an issue that was going wrong with my 30-30, the actual tube magazine of my 30-30. Fixed that with this one year. Still actually haven't bought replacement parts for that because the duct tape worked just fine. So this is probably one of the more important items to carry, I'd say, is just a little bit of duct tape for some reason. Very, very good to have. All right, last item in this bag is 3 little AAA batteries held together with some electric tape. You don't want these floating in the bag just by themselves for obvious reasons. They might discharge and then they're useless. But these are paired with either my little flashlight or my headlamp, which I'm just realizing I don't have in my pack right now, but I have a headlamp, the one from Costco. So both the headlamp and the flashlight go with AAA batteries. That way I only have to carry one set of spares. I don't really have to worry about different sorts of batteries. All right, and that's what's left in this bag here. Let's get the other ones out. All right, now this bag here is just an emergency fire kit. Like, this is the oh crap, I'm dying, I need to get fire started now bag. Whereas this little one over here is just more of the, hey, I'm done hunting for the day, but there's still some light left. Maybe I want to have a campfire out by my stand or something like that. That's what that little bag is for. This is the I am dying help fire kit. So in here I have some actual storm-proof matches, 25. These are the UCO ones. And yeah, these are pretty serious. There's a striker on the box, but then 2 strikers on the box, but there's also some strikers on the inside as well. Yeah, so those are pretty self-explanatory. Then I have a couple of those fire starters. I do actually still have them in my pack. The egg carton, sawdust, and wax. Those are pretty awesome. Those will burn forever. And then I have 2 little tea candles, but these are actually citronella tea candles. So this is less about the emergency. They do act as a fire extender, so if I'm only able to get like a little tiny bit of fire, I can extend that 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. But these will also help, if it's super buggy. These will repel insects if they're just becoming an absolute nuisance. Obviously that's going to stink up the area you're hunting in, but just in case. And then lastly in this bag I have this little guy. This is a fast fire chemical fire block, basically highly combustible. I think it's made of like kerosene and some other stabilizers. And basically, you just light the plastic on fire, and the whole thing goes boom, and it'll burn for a long time, just in case. So this is the I need fire right now, or I'm gonna die bag, which, you know, ideally, you never have to dip into. That's the whole point. Cool. All right, last little bag here. This is my kill kit. So on the inside is just stuff that I want to have access to in a, condensed, ordered location when I actually get a deer. So on the inside, first off, as you can see through the bag, I have an extra spare compass. I'll probably take that out this year. I don't think I need 3, but famous last words. We'll see. Then I have a pen. This is, obviously for marking on your deer tag or writing notes in your little notebook, just in case. Good to have a notebook, good to have a pen. You never know. Then I also have on the inside here some sets of heavy-duty nitrile gloves. This is a personal kind of comfort item. I don't like getting my hands covered in blood and urine and feces and ticks and any kind of parasites that are going to be in the guts that if I accidentally poke it or something. I like having some nice gloves. That's just me though. Not necessary, but I like having some heavy-duty nitrile gloves for gutting. Also, before I go any further, there's some things in here that I have not replenished yet for this coming season. I also like to keep a little travel-sized bag of wet wipes in here just to clean my hands off, to clean my knife and my scissors off after I'm done field dressing a deer. And that's I think that's the only item I haven't restocked yet. So yeah, some nitrile gloves. I'll also carry some plastic bottles of water in my pack as well, just to help wash the chest cavity out and cool things down so it doesn't start, spoiling right away. All right, so I have a couple, or actually just one little hank of paracord. This is what I was talking about. I've used this to tie the forelegs open, tie the back legs open, secure the head to the base of a tree so that the body is slanted and the cavity just pours stuff out. Very, very helpful to have. This is an older one from my last hank, and this is the new hank, so yeah, good to have. Then I have a little magnesium fire striker in here, just because I am paranoid and I like setting things on fire. Just good to have. And then the last thing in my kill kit is this little guy right here in a protective duct tape case, super high tech. This is a little tiny, what's this called? Whetstone. This is for just touching up the edge of my knives or my scissors or whatever, my axe specifically, touching up right before I do actually open the chest cavity up or the abdominal cavity. It's good to do that. I may bring a dedicated knife sharpener this year, but this is good to have for the axe head specifically. You can't really run an axe through a knife sharpener. It just doesn't work. This is good for putting a little edge on your actual hatchet before you needed to use it for something important. Okay, last two things in my pack are these two spikes. Usually I carry more or less, I don't know. Sometimes I'll carry smaller ones as well. These are just screw-in rungs for the tree. I don't use these to climb up the tree because they're actually kind of dangerous. They get kind of slippery and they kind of turn on you when you try to step on them. But what I use these two for specifically is I'll use one to screw into the tree where I want to hang my actual deer stand, and I will hang it on there so I'm not having to hold it up to the tree while I fiddle with the ratchet straps. So that holds the stand up in the tree while I'm mounting it. And then the second one here, I will drill this next to me, kind of at hand level, and that's something I will hang my pack on. I've hung my rifle on it every once in a while, so I can get up on my stand and stretch or go to the bathroom or something like that. It's good to have something like this that you can hang gear on next to you. Usually I carry small ones of these that are much, much smaller. Those are handy too. But those tend to get forgotten and left in the tree, which is what happened to the ones that I had. I have no clue where they are anymore. They're in some tree up in the Chippewa. I don't know, somewhere. All right, cool. And then obviously you have all the clothing, thermos, stuff like that you're going to put in the bag as well. That's why this is only ever like at most a third full of gear, just for weight reasons, but also I use it primarily for transporting clothing, heavy, warm clothing that I'm going to put on once I actually get to the deer stand. Yeah, so that's the gear I carry. Again, I'm missing my headlamp. I need to go find that and put that in for this year. But I hope this helps you kind of figure out what you might need to start collecting for this season.